I became insane, with long intervals of horrible sanity. All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. Those who dream by day are cognizant of many things which escape those who dream only by night. I have great faith in fools, self-confidence my friends will call it. I was never really insane except upon occasions when my heart was touched. There is no exquisite beauty without some strangeness in the proportion. Believe only half of what you see and nothing that you hear. From childhood's hour I have not been, as others were, I have not seen, as others saw, I could not awaken my heart to joy at the same tone, and all I loved alone. Sleep, those little slices of death, how I loathe them. Years of love have been forgot, in the hatred of a minute. Words have no power to impress the mind without the exquisite horror of their reality. All religion, my friend, is simply evolved out of fraud, fear, greed, imagination, and poetry. If you wish to forget anything on the spot, make a note that this thing is to be remembered. Deep in earth my love is lying and I must weep alone. It is by no means an irrational fancy that, in a future existence, we shall look upon what we think our present existence, as a dream. And so being young and dipped in folly I fell in love with the melancholy. Beauty of whatever kind, in its supreme development, invariably excites the sensitive soul to tears. Science has not yet taught us if madness is or is not the sublimity of the intelligence. The true genius shudders at incompleteness, imperfection, and usually prefers silence to saying the something which is not everything that should be said. The death of a beautiful woman is, unquestionably, the most poetical topic in the world. There was much of the beautiful, much of the wanton, much of the bizarre, something of the terrible, and not a little of that which might have excited disgust. I called to mind flatness and dampness, and then all is madness. The madness of a memory which busies itself among forbidden things. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore. The depth lies in the valleys where we seek her, and not upon the mountain tops where she is found. In our endeavors to recall to memory something long forgotten, we often find ourselves upon the very verge of remembrance, without being able, in the end, to remember. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. A dirge for her the doubly dead in that she died so young. You call it hope, that fire of fire, it is but agony of desire. The agony of my soul found vent in one loud, long and final scream of despair. True, nervous, very, very nervous I had been and am, But why will you say that I am mad? 1,000,000 candles have burned themselves out. Still I read on. Montresor. Imperceptibly the love of these discords grew upon me as my love of music grew stronger. I was never kinder to the old man than during the whole week before I killed him. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted, nevermore. And so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door, darkness there, and nothing more. From childhood's hour I have not been as others were, I have not seen as others saw, I could not bring my passions from a common spring. I would define, in brief, the poetry of words as the rhythmical creation of beauty. All that we see and seem is but a dream within a dream. In one case out of 100 the point is excessively discussed because it is obscure, in the 99 remaining it is obscure because it is excessively discussed. Where the good and the bad and the worst and the best have gone to their eternal rest. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee, and the stars never rise but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. When a madman appears thoroughly sane, indeed, it is high time to put him in a straitjacket. Either the memory of past bliss is the anguish of today, or the agonies which are have their origins in ecstasies which might have been. That fitful strain of melancholy which will ever be found inseparable from the perfection of the beautiful. The idea of God, infinity, or spirit stands for the possible attempt at an impossible conception. We gave the future to the winds, and slumbered tranquilly in the present, weaving the dull world around us into dreams. The rain came down upon my head, unsheltered, and the wind rendered me mad and deaf and blind. A man's grammar, like Caesar's wife, should not only be pure, but above suspicion of impurity. Even with the utterly lost, to whom life and death are equally jests, there are matters of which no jest can be made. Villains! I shrieked. Dissemble no more. I admit the deed. Tear up the planks. Here, here. It is the beating of his hideous heart. Mysteries force a man to think, and so injure his health. Experience has shown, and a true philosophy will always show, that a vast, perhaps the larger, portion of truth arises from the seemingly irrelevant. Every poem should remind the reader that they are going to die. Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? And darkness and decay and the Red Death held illimitable dominion over all.